met many great protagonists and secondary characters this semester through the books you've read and films you've watched. Gerald on Queen, Angel, Forged by Fire, Jamal, Latika, Slumdog with Sam, Claire, Hang On Times, Jim, Danny, Waylicha, and the Monkey King, Chinley, Toby, Caroline, Precious and Miss Rain, Will and Marcus, Sunny and Julian, Katie, Heron. Who were your favorites and why? What life lessons did you learn from them?
So my favorite was definitely Katie because she was the first, like, she was one that I could relate to the most just because we were, like, I'm the same age as her and she was like a junior and senior. And I mean, she's a girl in high school and that she has like issues with high school and friends and family and guys and everything like that and like trying to fit in. So, and she went through a lot to find out what she wants and who she wants to be. And I think that for me, like I kind of relate just because from like freshman year to senior year, you mature and you grow and you find out like who you want to be and like what you, I don't know, just like what you really like and stuff. And I feel like everybody kind of turns into their own individual person. And I think she found supportive friends in the end that had her back no matter what. And so in 1 year, she grew like so much as a person. And that was just kind of like, it was like inspiring to see how she changed so much. And I understand her reasoning for being pressured by the plastics and but also being torn on like trying to figure out the right thing to do versus what you want to do. Just because in high school you can get caught up with like all the social aspects, I guess.
I thought you could learn a lesson from Aunt Queen and Julian. I thought you could learn from Aunt Queen is don't take things for granted because she was there 1 second and she had a heart attack the next, and it's kind of just like you don't know when things like leave or like you just gotta like kind of like appreciate what you have. And then from Julian, like when Julian showed up at the door, he just didn't want anything to do with him at all. He's like kind of like don't judge a book by its cover. Because by the end of the book, he just didn't want to give him away. He couldn't give him up. So just kind of showed the change for him there.
Wait, I'm sorry. Did you say Aunt Queen?
I said yeah.
What book is that from?
Forged by Fire.
Sorry, I love that book. Sorry. I read that like a while ago. So
I also said Aunt Queen and like Gerald and Angel just because that was kind of like my favorite like story or book kind of. And I just thought like I liked Aunt Queen just because she seemed like happiness, kind of like it was the only time where like besides like the end of the book where Gerald and Angel were like happy. Mostly Gerald, it wasn't Angel yet. She just seemed like nice.
I agree with Tyler and Connor's point, but I also said I like Gerald and Angel because it kind of reminded me of the bond that me and my sister have together, always been there for each other.
aww. Collective aww.
It's got a heart.
I also said Gerald. I thought his story was the most touching. He just like proved to like himself and like his mom like could like face adversity and still like have a lot to be happy about, and like he doing protect Angel. I thought that was pretty admiring, and he has such good character traits, so I picked him.
You got it.
I really liked Jamal from Slumdog Millionaire just because his whole story I thought was just really interesting. Now I don't know, it's probably pretty unrealistic what happened, but he kind of grew up from nothing. And his entire life story kind of just came about for him to end up winning this game show where everyone thought he cheated just because he grew up with nothing in his family and there was no way just an ordinary boy could answer all these questions. But it was interesting how his entire life path kind of brought him to answering all the questions, and we saw that in that way. So that's why he's my favorite character.
I agree with Zane. I thought Job was my favorite just to see how selfless he remained and how strong he was. I mean, going through all that. Just to see how positive and thoughtful he was, was sort of inspiring. I mean, like him going through all that and just to have a positive outlook, it just shows you how strong you have to be. And yeah, I just thought it was awesome.
I agree. I also said Gerald and Angel, and I really like how like with all the challenges that kept coming their way. I mean, it was just one thing after another. But they just kept persevering through everything, and I think that really just shows that eventually, like if you persevere, it'll just get better, and it'll all be fine. And I also really liked that one because I like couldn't really relate to their story, and so it gave me like a different insight on what other people might have in their lives.
Such a good book.
Going back to what Daria said earlier, I agree with her about Katie from Mean Girls. I think because it's like really relatable and it's a good like, I don't know, it kind of fits to like high school days and how teenagers try to fit in, especially like freshman year when you try to find, if you guys didn't come from the same middle school, most of you guys did, but if you didn't come from the same middle school and stuff and you're coming like to a complete different school, I think that really kind of helped show what people do go through and how they try to find their friends and how maybe sometimes they'll have their friends and then end up like going to a different group because they think that they're better and stuff and it just turns out to be the worst. So I think Katie's was like a good representation of like life for teenagers.
You're at 6:10.
I mean, I guess we kind of had this as a journal question, but have you ever kind of like went to the extreme to fit in? So like with, I think it was Jen changing his hair. Have you guys like not changed your hair, but like maybe just try to do something different, like changing your clothing or changing your personality just to fit in with a certain group?
Yeah, I tried to do that one time. Like I tried
Elaborate.
like, and I don't know, just like going from different groups, you gotta act differently, like searching different groups, there's like you say different things.
Yeah, I guess answering that question. I mean, I not necessarily friend groups, but just having like an older brother, you kind of always like look up to your older brother, and you always kind of want to be like him. So, I guess growing up, I always kind of want to wear the same clothes that he did and kind of watch the same TV shows. So, it's really kind of the main way.
It's like in middle school, I got like Timbs, but I didn't really like them. I really outside them, so I was just like, I'll get a pair. That's something I can relate to.
In middle school, that big thing of like getting a feather in your hair, I tried to do that once and I'm like, this is ridiculous. I look stupid. So I'm done. I'm not doing
Or
this.
silly bands, that was 6th grade.
Okay, those were so.
I still
I
have,
mean, you could
I have
wear
like
it
a drawer full of them still.
So you guys are at 8:07, so.
Silly ones.
Jam after that.
I'm starting.
You guys wanna, you good? No?
Yeah, we're good.
But the-
Sweet.